CleanMyMac is a long-established Mac application for tidying, cleaning, defragging, all sorts of little maintenance tasks for your Mac. And they have recently added a feature for doing something similar to a limited degree to cloud accounts. So in this video, I'm going to take a look at this new cloud cleaning feature. But before I do, I am Christian Schiller, and I'm going to ask you to do all the usual things every YouTuber asks you. Take a look at the buttons down below, subscribe, share, support. Everything is appreciated, or you can find out more about me at christianschiller.com. And finally, if I convince you to take a look at CleanMyMac, I have a little affiliate link in the notes as well. Every little helps. Just like cleaning, every little file helps. Let's get stuck in. This is the standard interface. It's been redesigned a little bit recently. I don't know how much I like it, but let's very quickly look through some of these standard features. Scan does a whole bunch of different things, kind of the highlights of some of these other checks, basically. Cleanup looks for free space that you can get rid of, files, some other purgeable files, this kind of thing. Protection is their threats and vulnerability and malware detection. I tend to have that turned off, but it's there. Performance is maintenance tasks. This is DNS cache clearing. It's running some of the scripts that run periodically on a Mac. There's a few other things. Some of these people argue whether you really need to do, but there we go. Application updates, uninstall, remove files left behind. You would be amazed how many applications are very bad at cleaning up after themselves. I'm often quite surprised by what I find still lurking on my computer many years later. My clutter. This one I sometimes find to possibly be the unclearest of them all. It's sort of some of these combined, and you can also look at different volumes, different folders, different drives, etc., etc. Space Lens, have a look at what is eating up a lot of disk space. There's other tools that do this. I think in a lot of cases, if you're fairly on top of your maintenance, which I am somewhat religious about it, a lot of this you kind of know already. It doesn't necessarily give you any surprises, but this one I use a lot, and this one I use a lot. But this is the cloud cleanup. Let's have a look at this. This is what I'm mostly interested in seeing. So it supports Google Drive, iCloud, and OneDrive. And I've added iCloud and 2 of my Google Drives. Now, let's firstly have a look at iCloud. There's a couple of strange things about iCloud. I'm going to open settings as well, rather oddly. I use iCloud quite a lot because I have a couple of different Macs, and I also have an iPad and an iPhone. So I like to be able to access things fairly seamlessly. Some of these will only really be relevant on a computer, like stuff in my finances folder. These are only applications on Mac. Obsidian, Margin Note, Notion, not the Notion you're thinking of, Pages, etc., will work across platform. And I have a few other files and folders here. Probably the biggest one is this music projects, and you can see I keep this downloaded. This is sort of more relevant on this machine in particular because this is the machine I use for music, so I want to make sure everything is already downloaded. And there's a lot in here, as you can see. Music takes up a lot of space. It's mostly Ableton files, so for many iCloud-enabled applications, I have no real knowledge of what this is, but it's an easy way to collaborate between computers and actually my music collaborator who also uses a Mac, so we can share files with each other quite easily. But also lurking in iCloud, you find this from the settings up here in Manage, there's actually a lot of other stuff that lurks here, some of which you have more or less control over getting rid of. So Devon think I have here as well, but also here. I don't know why it's 3.5 gig. This is probably something I would like to figure out, actually. Margin Note this is an application I'm slowly trying to deprecate because it does have a tendency to leave a lot of stuff behind. WhatsApp, why is WhatsApp using nearly 1 gig? Who knows? But you can see there's lots of things here. Some match the folders here, like Obsidian, some don't. So I'm also interested to see if CleanMyMac will be able to handle some of the storage taken up by this as well. But let's see. So let's jump in. Here, these little icons show whether something is local and remote. So you can see iCloud is both. It is kind of both. I don't know why this is grayed out because there's a mixture of items locally and in the cloud. and in both in some cases. And if you look here, these are purely in the cloud. So I actually do use an application called InSync to synchronize some files and folders from my Google Drive to my local machine. But CleanMyMac is not aware of those. It's only aware of the Google Drive desktop application, which I don't use. So that's a little bit lost there. So some of the files that it will see, I actually do have locally. But iCloud, this will take a little while. I have a fair bit in there. And you can also see this is the strange file path where iCloud is actually stored. I once accidentally deleted this folder. So like, what is this taking up all this space? That was not a good day. But I managed to get most of it back, fortunately. Yeah, this is going to take a fair bit of time, I think. So I will just stop the recording there and come back when it's done. All right then. So we have a couple of sections here. Some of these I find a little hard to know quite the difference. So 34.4 gigabytes of locally synced files. Okay. 13.2 gigabytes of large locally synced files. Okay. And so it's kind of a split between the two, as well as an overview here. Now, I don't know if it matters to me a massive amount that it's local or not. That's sort of how iCloud works. That's kind of what I want, I suppose. Let's see. I think the aspect with a lot of these tools as well is sometimes you're a bit nervous to actually just let it delete things because you're not completely always sure what something is. So I can see here I cannot actually remove these, I suppose because they are system set. Yeah, it's essential because I do sync my documents folder as well for reasons. And now there's not a massive amount here. I mean, it's not really showing me a great deal either, I suppose. I think I can click into here and then see what is taking up the space. But I kind of knew what was taking up the space. I would probably argue this one could be slimmed down a bit. These ones, I know what's in here, roughly speaking. There's definitely some things in this media library that could be done with cleaning out, but I sort of know what's there. But if I wanted to delete it, then I would probably just, I think I don't necessarily need what's in here. So I guess I can just click that and review and remove. There we go. Now, you might have noticed I did show those kind of hidden files from various applications. They do not seem to show up, which is a shame because that would be something that would be quite cool. And I can see these are all local. This looks pretty similar to me, but there we go. And large. Let's just have a look. I'm not sure. There's also apparently no way I can find of, if we come back here, large cloud files, large locally synced files. It would be kind of nice to be able to see that differentiation in the view. So when I get here, so I'm assuming that these are all in the cloud, taking up space in the cloud. And again, yeah, I would want to go through these and figure out what they are. Yeah, I've got a lot of stuff here that has been sat there for some time that I need to go through. Yeah, the guilt list. It's also interesting to see where it gets some things wrong. So this is also counted as an archive file. This is actually an Ableton file. It's not an archive file. I don't know what it means by that, where it got that from. So there's not a tremendous amount here, really. It's interesting to see, but I could do a lot of this by just going into the Finder itself, I suppose. So let's have a look at Google Drive instead, which is probably going to be more helpful in that way because it's not something you normally look at locally. And again, you do store other things in Google Drive. Let's see if it can pick those up. Like mail and photos are actually kind of stored in Google Drive. It's a little mysterious. I clearly do not use Google Drive as much as I thought. So what have we got here? Less than 3 gig out of 16. There's not much I have to worry about, is there? I can certainly see some things here that I could get rid of. I don't even know what this is. JJJ. One project. There's a lot of Ableton files I've shared with people at varying times. I think that this is sort of interesting because these are things I don't actively need, but like, for example, my clients folder is something I should probably keep around. This one probably can go at some point. This was a bunch of audio files for an event, which is now past. But yeah, how much I want to delete from here, I'm not quite sure. That's sort of good for seeing, yeah. So something like version 1 archive I can probably get rid of. There's not really much to worry about here, is there, though? I might have more audio files. A lot of audio, mostly audio. Hey, you just sort of use free space sometimes, don't you? And in the other one, I've had this drive a lot longer, so there could be some more things lurking in here. Apparently not. There's a lot in here, a lot of files, but not much that's taking up much space. And it's also interesting. One other thing you might notice is missing, and this is probably why it's not taking up much space. These are all, shall we say, third-party files. There is nothing here that is an actual Google Docs file, I think. I want to check that. I think this is a docx file. I don't really want to open up some of these. As you can see, they're somewhat personal things. But yeah, I do not see anything that is a Google Docs file. Not that they are particularly large, but it does mean, again, you're not seeing the full picture. So that's it. That is the new cloud cleanup feature in CleanMyMac. I think you'll probably agree, interesting. It doesn't go the full way that you do with CleanMyMac itself. It would also be nice to maybe be able to look across all of them at once as opposed to individually, and you could see if there's duplicate files, for example. I don't know how much it factors in checking the cloud cleanup into the broader tests either. So it's a start. There's also a lot of things missing. Dropbox, for example, is not there. That's the only other one I can really think of, but Dropbox is also not there. And Dropbox is probably one of those ones that you run out of space on far quicker. But I suppose the limitations are often the APIs that MacPaw, the company behind CleanMyMac, were able to get access to. If that interests you, or if indeed any of the other features of CleanMyMac interest you, you can see I have an affiliate link in the description and showing up on screen right now. That's very appreciated if you go through that. Throw a few cents my way. I have been Christian Schiller. This has been a hands-on video. I look forward to seeing you next time. Take care, everybody.